I swear, if we ever do Give Day again, I'm going to call it 20,000 the hard way. Because man, we have worked so hard for this $20,000. We did 6 different videos of each one of those 4 conservation partners that we're supporting. Each one will get $5,000, and we're hoping that you can help us keep that promise to them so that we get to the $20,000 so that we can help fund all of those amazing projects that you heard about in Mexico and Peru and Brazil and Costa Rica. Hey, all you cool cats and kittens, it's Howard Baskin and Carole Baskin from Big Cat Rescue, having all kinds of technical issues this morning.
That phrase, hey, all you cool cats and kittens, that's catchy. Did you just think that up, or have you used it before?
I think we might use it on all of our live videos.
All right, you may be able to tell from Carole's throat that she's sick and I'm just at the tail end of being sick. So if you hear us coughing, we forgive, or please forgive. So,
actually, before you get started, this is really shaky and this is going to be horrible with me holding this for an hour. And we thought we could do it from the computer, and that's not working. So I wonder if maybe you could hold this and talk, and I'll run upstairs and grab your holder.
Oh, okay, all right.
Just be careful not to hit any buttons, and don't cover the camera with your hand.
Great.
You need to hold it with the other hand. Put this down, put this hand here, now hold that with that hand.
Oh dear, okay. She's talking about my notes for today so that we can cover everything. So, there's your first cough. Anyway, the first thing we want to give you a little update on is our recent visit to Turpentine, which was really, really terrific. For the first time, seeing the place built out. We were there a year ago and it was just poles in the ground and kind of a dream. And the cats all look content. They look happy. Originally the area was kind of barren. Now the grass has grown in, and it looks spectacular. And when you drive out to this area, which they call the Freedom Field, and you kind of come over a hill, and then you're looking down, and you can see across the entire. Well, I shouldn't wave my hand in front of the camera. You can see across the entire area with all of the cages, the small cat cages closer, and then the huge tiger enclosures after that. Honestly, it's not possible to describe, but it was just overwhelming.
In a good way.
In a good way, and I just felt such pride. And the enclosures are larger, and you could just tell as we went around. We spent a lot of time walking around, talking to the cats, and they're just all doing great here. So, and one of the things that had been reported previously was that a couple of the cats, Smalls and Filmo, who we knew to be not very social, seem to have really come into their own out there and become very social. And we got to see Smalls, and she was being quite coy, poking her head out of the den, looking at us, and then, waiting till we kind of walked away a little bit and coming out. And there were a number of other cats that we saw. Why don't you talk about some of them?
Yeah, so Smalls is just like a whole different cat. She is just loving everybody there and is so sociable. And Filmo, the only time I ever saw Filmo was when he would chase me on my bicycle, and that was not a friendly thing. It wasn't like he wanted to be my friend, because anytime I was walking around, as you guys know from the lives that I did at the sanctuary, he wasn't a social cat, and yet there he's become quite social. So that's been really nice to see. And then Sweet Summer, she was being absolutely adorable and was being very coy with Jamie and playing peekaboo in her little den. And so that was really nice to be able to see them enjoying a moment there. And then Max and Marianne, Gail had gone up there the week before the event at Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge, and she had said that Max was the only cat there who came running up when she came by. And so I was curious, how would the cats behave when their keepers had come up to see them after they've settled in there? And everybody was just perfectly content. It wasn't, oh my God, take me home. They were just really, really relaxed. Everybody looked to be in super good weight. And Mary Ann was up on her swinging hammock, and her with her little almond eyes. She was just blinking in the sun because we were out there, I think it was probably around 10 o'clock or so. They had already eaten breakfast and everybody was already down for their naps again, and the weather was just blissful. We got to see Alethea, who was out and being alert, and so that was nice, not to see her under a coolaroo. And then, of course, Beecher was eating grass, like Beecher's always eating grass. So some things have not changed.
Well, what changed for Beecher is that he used to insist on sticking his head out through the 4x4 wire to eat the grass, like the grass is greener on the other side, kind of a thing. And can't do that with the smaller wire, but seemed perfectly happy now to be eating the grass that he could get to.
And he's got a lot of it. Bailey was still quite feisty, and they say that she really enjoys being an indoor cat. She has the opportunity to go indoors or outdoors. Hey everybody, we're back. I am so sorry. Every time I get an alert on my phone, I have to push it out of the way so that I can't have it obstructing the screen, because I can't see you. And hey Barbara, welcome back. Sorry about that. We got 4 people. I think we had, 50 some odd, so I'm gonna wait till a few of them come back. Hi Deb, glad you made it back. Hey Mary Taylor. This says comments with 200 stars or more will appear here. I wonder if I'm gonna, hi Matthew. I don't know if I'm gonna see any other stars there. Dare I touch the screen again? Oh my Katniss. Hey Deborah, hello. Hey Patricia, Nancy. Well, welcome back everybody. Now I forgot what I was talking about.
We were still talking about the cats, Bailey being feisty. We didn't talk about the tigers or Shiloh.
Yeah, they said Bailey is loving living indoors. And so she actually, because of her age, and Moses at the time was so old, she was 20, I think he was 22, they had given them the indoor housing, which is only available to the African cats. And she likes being indoors most of the time. She has access to an outdoor yard that she can use whenever she wants, but she's perfectly fine to stay indoors and be a house cat. So she can do whatever she wants there. And when we opened the door, she stood up like, hey, what are you guys doing in my house? And so we backed out quietly. And all of the tigers, as you guys have seen from the live streams at Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge, those live streams, they really helped us understand how the cats were adjusting to all of this. And it looks like they were loving the snow, they're loving the spring, they're loving all of the new grass. We got to see them in person, and they all looked very comfortable and content. So that was really nice. I didn't get to see Kimba. Did you see Kimba? I think you guys may have gone down and looked over the edge.
I didn't. The terrain was difficult for me.
Oh.
I didn't get there.
Maybe Jamie was the one that went over the edge. Hey, Jen and Salmon. So they're all doing great. And then, as you guys may know, Shiloh had a bit of an incident. I think he swallowed like a chicken leg whole or something like that. And all of the cats were looking like they were in really good weight. So it's not like he was so starved that he did it. It's just like freak accidents, something you never see happen. And all of a sudden, the cat will prove to you that they can do it. And so he ended up spending about a month in the hospital because he ended up with pneumonia from that. But when we were at Turpentine Creek last weekend, he was back outside, and he had just been out for a day or two, and he looked like he was really enjoying that. So the cats are doing very, very well there, and I was so relieved and pleased to see them so enjoying their lives there.
Yeah. So,
and I'm going to try and read these comments, and ask him questions as we go. I was talking, so I wasn't able to do it, but I've asked Deb to text me, which is probably going to make me touch my phone, which is going to be a mess.
Maybe she should text my phone.
Yeah, Deb, how about texting Howie's phone? We got that here. And that way I can see if there's any that I missed. And Robin Fry says she spoke with Tanya about Kimba when she was there, and he's doing very well and has warmed up to her. So that's great news. We got to see Robin at the event. Hey, Robert and Christine. Did she text you?
No, but you need to point that to where you want it to be.
We're so tech savvy.
We really had this set up, we thought, in a much more sophisticated way, and then we couldn't get it to go live. So, sorry, so we're compromised. Are you still going to be able to show the picture or video by turning the phone around on your
yeah, I don't know how that's going to look, but yeah. Some are asking about Hutch. So when you take the tram around, and they don't currently take regular tours up to the Freedom Field, but for the private tours where the people go to the Freedom Field, they're completely outside of the fences. And so Hutch is one of the cats that you actually can see from the drive around loop. And they put him on the outside loop because he's so friendly. And so, yeah, he's doing fine. Okay.
All right. So we got an agenda here. Did we finish with that topic?
Are you through with me talking? It's like if I hear any more of you talking through your nose. And I don't mind being next to him because he's already had this.
Yeah, she thinks you can't get it again.
I hope he can't get it again.
Anyway, so let's turn to Give Day for a little bit here. You know, when we rescue 1 or 2 or 3 cats, then we get to have an impact on 1, 2 or 3 cats. And what we're trying to do now is basically have an impact on hundreds of them. Are you able to show the picture or no? Shall we not endeavor to do that for fear of losing everybody again?
I think I can show you. You're wanting to show the picture with the labels that you insisted on having?
Just, you know, show the people. Look, you know, we all know tigers and lions, but so many of these small cats, you know, I certainly had never even heard of before I got involved here, and still have to learn a lot about. But you know, these are just beautiful small cats, and you know, they may not necessarily be what's called apex predators, the biggest predator in their area, but as predators, that they really play the same kind of a role in the ecosystem that the apex predators do. And what happens is, if you wipe out a species, I mean, I have friends who live in the Northeast, and the cougars there got wiped out, so there are many too many deer, and as a result, people are getting Lyme disease from the deer ticks. And so when you decimate these predators, the prey population that they prey on outstrips what the land can support. They overgraze, and you know, entire landscapes deteriorate. And there's plenty of history of this.
Are you through looking at these names?
No. you keep holding that. And sometimes it gets so bad that the area can no longer support life. So, you know, these cats are critical to what everybody, you know, is commonly called the balance of nature. So that you can, if you don't want to hold it anymore, people can have the misfortune of looking at me.
They would much rather look at you.
Sorry. Anyway.
I'd rather look at you.
Oh, thank you. As we approach this Give Day, and I've got to refer to a few notes I made, because I started thinking about this in, you know, a little bit of a philosophical way, and thinking a little more broadly about giving, because we couldn't do what we used to do on Give Day. And I think, you know, the giving decision that we all make is, to some extent, a mental decision. It's information, it's the mind, but I think it's very much a decision we make with our hearts. So both are involved, and I think the act of giving, in a sense, should be a little bit of a selfish thing, because when you give, when you write the check, or when you enter the credit card information, ideally you feel a sense of satisfaction that you're accomplishing something with your life by doing that, whether it's $1 or more, that you're helping do something that's meaningful for your life. And I think that feeling is a feeling largely from the heart, not the mind. And when we did Give Day in the past, we'd be talking to you about a rescue, we'd be talking to you about a rehab bobcat, and we would have an individual to talk about. Are you kicking me?
No, I'm just snuggling with you. But I was wondering if you wanted to talk at all about any of those bobcat rehabs.
No. But when we talk about...
What if I want to?
You can when I'm done. When we talked about those, you would have an individual to talk about, you'd have a name, and we'd be able to show, either where they came from, or the condition they arrived in, and then what we, the condition that we were able to improve them to. And so I think it was very easy to associate that with the emotional part of these decisions. And so I got thinking, how do we make that emotional connection with a species? We're talking about ocelots or margays. We're not talking about a specific cat. And what came to mind to me may seem a little bit odd. Excuse me, again, we're both working on these colds. But what came to my mind was, when I'm driving around, if I see a dead domestic cat that got hit by a car, I have an immediate emotional reaction. The first reaction is just, sadness. And I realized, as I thought about it, a helplessness. I couldn't stop that. I couldn't be there to chase that cat away from trying to get across that street. And we all know how they do it. They just dash, and it's just bad luck. And so I thought, well, let me think about some of these cats that you just saw the pictures of, and let me try to picture them in one of these countries in South America, out there, like these cats on the road, dead. How dead? Dead by being poisoned or being shot because they stole a chicken, doing something that to them comes naturally, or worse, having had a horrible long death by this distemper disease. By just closing my eyes and imagining that, I was able to feel that same sadness. But what I realized was, what I was not feeling was the helplessness, because we can do something about this. We can enormously reduce the amount of this that is happening, because the people that Carole's going to introduce you today, these largely young people who are operating on minuscule budgets and making the most of it, have put together successful programs that have proven that they can reduce the amount of this killing that happens because the cats eat the kitchen, steal the chickens, or because they catch this disease. So I guess what I'm hoping is that by showing you this, part of it is information, that is the mental part. I'm hoping that you can get the kind of emotional connection that we feel to saving not just 1, 2, or 3, but hundreds of them. For this Give Day, we set a much more modest goal in the past, and we're getting there. We're at close to 17,000. We're trying to get to 20,000, and anything above that will be spent on these projects. And someone, we asked for questions in advance, someone said, how much of this goes to the projects? All of it does, and if there's excess, it will go to these or similar projects. So with that, I'm gonna let Carole attempt to introduce you to these four really amazing people. I mean, we've interviewed them. They came highly recommended to us, and she's got like just a 30-second video, so you can actually see who we're talking about and hearing them. So do you want to give that a try?
I'm going to give that a try. So these people are working in Mexico and Costa Rica and Peru and Brazil. And like Howie said, it's just a 30-second video clip. And then I'm also going to bring Jamie in a little bit and let her talk about some of the work that they've been doing in Mongolia for the Pallas Cats. Now, that's not any part of Gift Day. I just thought you guys might want to hear from Jamie, because even though we're talking about these four conservation heroes for Gift Day, we have a lot of partners out there in the field that are working with all kinds of cats, all kinds of mostly small cats, which need the most help. And so I'm gonna attempt to turn this around. It means I have to touch my screen, but it looks like it's letting me turn it around, which is great. So there's the Gift Day thermometer. We're at 16,974. And the first video I want to show you guys, whoops, there's my notes, is Dr. Cindy Hurtado. And Dr. Cindy Hurtado is working in Peru.
My name is Cindy Hurtado, and I am from Peru. We, in the Pallas Cat working group, we work to protect the Pallas Cat as well as other co-occurring species of small wild cats. And we focus on threat mitigation, and those activities are generally building chicken coops, dog vaccination and sterilizations to reduce the spread of disease to wild cats. We also have roadkill programs and environmental education activities.
So what you saw there was a cat stealing a chicken. And the issue is that these rural farmers, they're poor, and they cannot afford the materials to make those chicken coops what we call predator proof, that the cats can't get in. So when the chicken gets stolen, those people want to basically kill the cat. We think, well, it's a chicken. Well, them stealing that chicken would be like somebody, for you, stealing your car. These people may have 6 to 12 chickens, and they rely on them both for food and for income, and stealing one is a big deal economically to these people. So I've moved into talking about the project. I didn't intend to, but I wanted to point out what you just saw there was the chicken coop before the materials are supplied to make it predator proof.
And I had an idea that just went right out of my head.
What's new?
Oh God, there's another thing on my screen.
You don't dare touch it.
Don't touch it, don't touch it. I'm seeing like thousands of stars. You guys are amazing. I don't know how much that is, but I think that it's got to add up to something. And it's asking if I want to have a star party, and I don't know what that is. If it's a good thing, go ahead and do it. The next one is Dr. Flavia Torelli, and she is working in Brazil.
My name is Flavia Tirelli, and I'm from southern Brazil. Our conservation efforts, they encompass various strategies, including, for example, nurturing and vaccination of domestic dogs and cats, alongside the construction or the repair of kennels to mitigate the conflicts between the dogs and the wild cats, to avoid the disease transmission within the rural communities.
Okay, and there's also Jose Ramirez Fernandez, who is working in Costa Rica, which, other than where I'm living right now, is my favorite place in the world.
Well, so my name is Jose Ramirez Fernandez, and I used to work with small mammals. So that's how I get involved into this project, because I get contacts by Jim Sanderson with small wild cats. I work in rural communities. I work with people, and our project is about repairing chicken houses or on chicken coops, so they don't have problems with attacks to the chickens.
And then this last one is Miriam Weston, and she's working in Mexico. She's the head of the Ocelot Working Group, and she sent me a cool little video, if we can play it after her video, where we get to actually see some cats. So you guys will love that. This is Miriam Weston.
Hi, I'm Miriam. I lead the Ocelot Working Group. We have projects in Mexico and in El Salvador. We work with ocelots, margais, jaguarundis, and bobcats, pumas, and jaguars. We work on mitigating threats for these cats by reducing the presence of free-ranging dogs in areas where we have cats. Dogs can transmit disease. They can also affect prey availability, or they can prey on cats. So we are offering free neutering and vaccination campaigns to avoid this. We're also fostering coexistence between cats and local farmers by building or repairing chicken coops where there's conflict between them. And we're also trying to mitigate the effects of climate change in some areas where droughts are limiting the access to water to cats.
And we're back.
Okay. So we talked a little bit about the chicken coops, but there was one story that one of these folks told us that was really telling, because this program not only has these people, these farmers not want to kill the cats, but what they do is they put up cameras, the camera traps that we use, like with our baby bobcats that we release. And they are able to show the farmers, here's what this cat looks like, and here's how you can live with it. It's still here, it didn't go away, but now you can survive with it. And,
I'm telling him, look at the camera. He looks at himself when he talks. Practicing in the mirror too much.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay. But she was telling us a story where they went to look at one of the projects after it was done, and after to talk to the people and show them the footage, and the people had actually put a picture of one of the cats in the chicken coop area as a way to just show that, you know, it's not only that they don't want to kill them, but they become proud of supporting them, because they educate the people about the role, like we talked about earlier, of these cats in the environment, and so they end up doing like a whole 180 degree from wanting to kill the cats, treating them as an enemy, to actually taking pride in helping save them. So, you know, if we just talk about, oh, we're doing chicken coops, it doesn't sound very exciting, but the effects of this are enormous for the cats. The way to just
Whoops.
What do you do? Chicken coop.
Sorry about that.
Sound very exciting.
Okay, I was trying to get over here where I could see more of the comments. I want to know what you guys are saying, but I can't see it on my little screen here.
Okay, so this distemper virus. Oh, you know, why are we neutering and spaying dogs? You know, what's that got to do with saving the cats? This distemper virus it used to be called canine distemper virus because it was just pretty much known in dogs. What they're now finding is that it can spread. And in these countries, there are large populations of free-roaming dogs. Some are feral, they have no owner. Others have owners, but they are allowed to run loose. And often they're protected by law there. And, you know, even if killing them were allowed, it wouldn't be something we would want to be involved with. But by doing the neuter and spaying and vaccination, they can both limit the population of these dogs that then transmit the disease to the wild cats, and make them not transmittable because they're vaccinated. So again, you know, neutering dogs doesn't sound, what are we doing neutering dogs? Well, it's because it has a direct impact on the number of these cats that die an absolutely horrible death of wasting away and not, you know, basically starving because they become incapable of hunting. And, you know, again, we're talking about $5,000 to each of these people that will save thousands of animals. The return on investment here is just enormous. I think that's all I want to say about that, except that we're hoping that you'll help. We did have a few questions that were sent in advance.
Let's check in on the thermometer again. Refresh that page and see how we're doing. All right, we're at 16,974 out of 20,000, so we're at the 85% mark. Turn this back around. And Jamie, if you're watching us, do something in the comments so that I can find you. Say hello, Mom, or something, so that I can bring you on stage. Go ahead. You can answer questions while Jamie's trying to figure out.
Okay.
She might not even be here yet because I didn't text her. Text her.
Okay. You need my face to open that.
They say married couples start to look alike after a while. I should try it with my face.
It would be a blessing to me if I started to look more like you. I think I already answered that all of the funding would go to the conservationists. We're getting this question quite a bit. Somebody was asking, well, what are the two of us doing? Or some people ask it as, how do you like retirement? Trust me, there is no retirement here.
This is why we're sick. We are working harder than ever.
In my case, all of the administrative duties that, the boring administrative duties that I have to handle, doing our audit right now, doing our 990 tax forms, all the insurances, things like that, those things all go on. The enjoyable task of dealing with our donors continues to go on. And the sale of the real estate is a extensive process where I'm having weekly meetings, and we can maybe at the end, if we have time and if somebody wants, we can talk more about that process. Hopefully the closing would take here in December. Carole has continued to work on the advocacy work. She just got back from 5 grueling days in Colorado, where we are part of a group that is trying to do a ballot initiative to stop the trophy hunting, the more abusive kinds of hunting, where they put a radio collar on these dogs. The dogs chase a cougar up a tree. The radio collar tells the hunters where they are. It takes no skill. This is by no means what Teddy Roosevelt called fair chase hunting. And so you've got a cougar up in the tree that they're just shooting out of the tree, or there's even something worse where they actually throw like a lasso around it. What was it called? Choke and something. I've just heard that phrase today. And then the bobcats and lynx are being trapped for their fur, to sell their fur to foreign countries, and in these traps where they die a horrible death. So it's the ballot initiative would stop that. The surveys show that a majority of people in Colorado would vote for this, a substantial majority, but the nature of their legislature is that they are not going to pass a law about it. So we're trying to gather signatures. So Carole was out, and the reason she's sick most likely is she did selfies with a few hundred people it might have been more than a few hundred people, might have been 1,000 people over the 5 days.
I estimated there was at least 2,600 people.
Wow. All to get signatures, because you need 125,000 signatures to get it on the ballot. So doing that work, still chasing after the circuses and doing our alerts and that kind of thing, and where there's state laws, writing letters in support to try to help. One of the letters that we'd done in the past was for Colorado on a circus bill. Finally getting time to do some better management of these little properties that we rent out that create income for the sanctuary. So spending time that. Jamie and Victor have been absolutely overwhelmed with the property issues, because what we are trying to avoid is having these mobile homes there just destroyed when we sell the property, and preparing them to be moved to other locations while Carole searches for other locations is a very time-consuming task that has been a big part of their focus. And we're certainly not able to do the level of property maintenance that historically we have done, but there's certain things you do have to do. So,
in fact, coyotes have taken over the place.
yeah, and if things don't work, you have to fix them, and so there's still that going on, and we're helping other sanctuaries by having them come and take down some of the fencing to be able to reuse it, and giving them other supplies that we don't need, and then selling the other things to generate income again for these projects. So we're all still very, very busy. There's no retirement. So I hope that addresses that question. Somebody asked whatever happened to Coda Lion, and I'm not sure that we know any more than we did then.
Well, actually, I looked it up. So I looked up they called it cat Juma, and when I looked up Juma Lion, Florida, apparently after the cat left our facility, we were asked to take it to Elmira's, and when the guy figured out that he couldn't pet the cat there either, or use it as an attraction to get people to pay attention to him, then he decided he wanted it to go to Judy Watson at SOS in Brooksville. And on her website, she mentions the cat arriving and said the cat would be there through his hearing, and that was in 2022. And what's interesting about that is in 2022 is when the Big Cat Public Safety Act passed. So even though he did lose his hearing, I believe, as far as being able to get a license to have her, but you can't have a pet lion anymore, no matter which way you go. So I don't think he was ever going to get his USDA license, and because it was just a pet. And so under the new Big Cat Public Safety Act, he would not be able to take the cat from that facility. But she's not mentioning the cat there, so I don't know if he chose to send the cat someplace else after that, or if the cat died while she was there. She was not in good health, even when we knew her. And for some reason, Jamie, every time I see your name in the comments here, it's not allowing me to bring you on video. It's allowing me to bring just about everybody but you on here. And so that's why I've asked her to log out and try to log back in and see if we can get her.
Maybe Facebook has banned her for all of her bad behavior.
She's been selling too much stuff, man. She is the eBay queen. Well, I'll keep looking for her to come back.
While you do that, someone asked what was decided about the memorial wall, and Turpentine has graciously allowed to move the memorial wall to the Freedom Field. I don't know exactly where it will be yet, but that is the plan.
Well, Dawn's saying, hello, Jamie. Why can't I see Jamie? Oh, maybe because she's a BCR moderator. Well, what? How does that work? I'm afraid to start pushing buttons here. Let's get through your questions, and then I'll get risky.
Okay, and I don't know if we can see any other questions that come up. Originally, we actually had a wealthy tech entrepreneur who had sold his business, who showed some interest in actually turning it into a park, which would have been lovely, but he decided he didn't want to pursue that. So, the only option is to sell it to developers. And so at the north end, there will be an apartment complex, and then the rest of it will be townhomes. But we have talked with both developers about, because it's two different developers for the different products, about putting together some kind of tribute to the history, and they liked the idea. The one was saying that they would have sanctuary in the name of the development, and maybe you know, putting together an area where that we could kind of decorate that would, you know, be a recognition of the history that had been there last 30 years. So we'll be working with them on that.
You know, one of the nice things I saw is that they had a bunch of the donor signs up on the outside perimeter wall so that people that do go by in the trams can see all the donors of the different cats, even though they may not be able to see the interior cats.
Yes, many of the donor signs that we had around the property here, they took and had gotten to hang them. So that was nice to see.
There's Judy. I'm a genius. Jamie's sideways. Oh no, she's upside down. She's spinning. Can I hear you? I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Am I right side up? Because I'm not on my phone.
Turn your speaker.
So we're good? We're good to go? You can hear me? Okay, there we go. I'm definitely not going to play, like, what is that, Pictionary with you guys? Because you're not good at the hand signals. Good? All right. So I'm glad to join you guys today and join everybody that's been in the comments. Thank you, Marcy, because I didn't even know you could request to be join a live. Pretty much I know how to post things and I know where the like button is. Above that, it's just that's not my pay grade. So it's really exciting what we're doing with Give Day, and I hope that you guys can really appreciate the where your funds are going, because those projects are just, they're so important, and a lot of the things are just so easy. They're so simple, but it just needs a little bit of funding to get up off the ground. I mean, just building a chicken cage is going to help cats from being killed, and putting up signs on the road is going to educate the public about the animals that are in the forest along the sides of the road. So, I mean, just these little tiny simple things that we can do with very little budget makes huge impacts all over the world, and you guys are directly responsible for that being able to happen. One case in particular is our recent trip to Mongolia. That was our first trip visiting one of these projects, and the landscape there was just so different than anything I've ever seen. I'm more of a tropical person, a jungle person, and to go see a place like that where the terrain is just absolutely nothing except for piles of rocks and endless miles of grasslands, short grasslands, like golf course grasslands. And during our stay there, we saw so many Pallas cats in those rock piles. That's their habitat. That's where you find them. And I would pretty much say, if you went on that trip, which they do tourist trips there to raise funds for their projects, I would say that if you go on that trip, you're guaranteed to see Pallas cats every day. I mean, that's just because there's nowhere else really that they live other than these giant rock piles on this very minimal landscape. And while we were there, we noticed that there would be areas of large rock piles, lots of Pallas cats, and then miles and miles and miles of open grassland until you get to the next set of rocks. And we wondered, Victor and I, building ponds, building dens for the cats out of the sanctuary, our brains just go to like maintenance mode. And we said, well, what if we put rock piles in the middle of these areas and kind of connected these rocky areas together, making a wildlife corridor for the Pallas cats to be able to travel from one place to another. And I mean, that's easy. Just pile up some rocks from one place to another. I mean, it's easy, but it takes manpower, and it takes, some trucks and guys to get these big, huge, heavy boulders from one place to another. But I mean, with a very little funding, we were able to make 5 den sites out in the middle of the Mongolia wilderness for these Pallas cats to be able to travel from one place to another. And not only did Pallas cats end up using those sites, there was all kinds of animals. There was foxes, there was the steppe eagle. There's no trees there. So these eagles, they literally have their nests on the ground or on a rock pile. So these 5 little sets of rock piles across the steppe out there became habitat to so many animals. And we did that with just a small amount of funding. And just a small amount of funding is going to go to each of these projects for Give Day. It's going to make a huge impact for those cats and other animals too. I mean, cats are the only things that steal chickens, you know what I mean? There's foxes and other things out there that steal chickens. So we're not only going to be saving cats, we're going to be saving all kinds of animals. It's like a ripple effect of what goes into these projects and what kind of benefit it has for all the animals and the landscape and ecosystems. So that was just my little piece of what I wanted to share with you guys about Mongolia, and the connection there is how these projects can do so much with so little. And you guys just donating even $1 or $2 makes a huge impact, because it all adds up. And I would take questions, but I can't hear anything. So peace out. If I could only read lips. She says, wait. Nope. Okay, nope. Write it on a notepad and hold it up to the screen. Talk about, okay. Ecuador. So one of our next trips that we've got. I have no idea what she's saying. You can text, it'll come up on my screen. One of so one of our next big adventures is we're going to Ecuador. We're going to be going to join a bunch of conservation leaders in the area. Yep, that's backwards, but I got it. So it's the Pallas Cat Working Group, and we're going to be going to their conference where they all come and show what the projects are that they've been working on, the successes they've had, the trial and error that they share. And we're really excited to get to know all these people and meet them in person. It really made a huge difference when we went to Cambodia and the Fishing Cat Conference, and we got to see everybody in person and put names to faces. It really makes it a lot easier when you're reading over these projects and knowing who the people are that are asking for funds, and having a little bit better insight into the projects themselves by seeing these presentations. And so we hope to gain that same kind of insight with this meeting in Ecuador. And we're really excited about it. And I'm really excited about it because Carole's going to be joining us. So she will be collecting some video footage, which is very much needed. These presentations they give are so wonderful, and it would be really great to be able to share them with all of you. So I hope to be able to do maybe some lives. We'll see. You know, I don't know about the internet in the middle of the jungle in the cloud forest, but we'll hopefully try to do some lives and collect a lot of photos and videos to share with you guys. Yep, she's got her phone ready. And just to share the wonderful work that they're doing, and in turn the work that you're helping to support in all of these countries. So that's coming up towards the end of the month. So you have something to look forward to there, and we're really excited about it too. I'm just getting stared at. Okay, yep. They love me. Well, I'm glad I could join you guys, and I really appreciate every single one of you guys in the comments that are watching today.
So, thanks to all of you, we are at $17,099 of our $20,000 goal. We're 85% there. I hope we've just been so captivating that you haven't been able to get to your computer to make a donation, but you can do so at bigcatrescue.org/give day.
One word, give day.
Yep, bigcatrescue.org/give day. And be wonderful if you could get us over that 20,000. I swear, if we ever do Give Day again, I'm going to call it 20,000 the hard way. Because, man, we have worked so hard hard for this $20,000. We did 6 different videos of each one of those 4 conservation partners that we're supporting. Each one will get $5,000, and we're hoping that you can help us keep that promise to them so that we get to the $20,000 so that we can help fund all of those amazing projects that you heard about in Mexico and Peru and Brazil and Costa Rica, taking care of cats like the jaguarundi and the jaguar, well, they benefit from it, the smaller cats, the ocelots, the margays, the guineas, the clouded forest cat, which is a new cat in town. That was a guinea that lives in the clouded forest of Costa Rica and, what's the state or the country south of Costa Rica? Is that Panama? I think it's Panama.
You're trying to make me look stupid?
Well, I was going to say Nicaragua. I remember crossing a border between Costa Rica and Nicaragua back in the 90s and being told to look like a man, which was kind of hard for me to do. But all these guys on boats had guns. It was really scary. But I don't know which border I was at. But anyway, in this cloud forest is where this little pocket of those guinea live that are very unique. So if they die out, that's the end of them. And so we need your help in protecting them. And Give Day is a wonderful way to make a lasting legacy, to be able to say to your children and your grandchildren, I saved those cats on Give Day, and I made it possible for them to be here so that you can even know about them, because otherwise they will be lost to history. So it looks like we got most of our people back. We got 45 people back. And was there anything that you wanted to say?
No, I think that wraps it up.
Thank you so much for everybody who has donated during Give Day, all of the stars that you guys have donated, all of the donations that you've made on Facebook. Deb will be sending that to Katie so that we can add it to this total and see if we can get over that 20,000 mark. Again, the URL is bigcatrrescue.org/giveday, GIVEDAY altogether. And we would love it if you could help us get over that $20,000 mark. It would be just catastic.
Next time we do this, can I say, hey, all you cool cats and kittens instead of you?
You have to beat me to it. It's just like
put my hand over your mouth? All right, well, listen, thank you all for joining us. It was, really appreciate you watching, and we'll try to do this again at some point, if you like.
Please pardon my appearance. I just got out of bed long enough to do this, and I'm going right back to bed because I feel awful physically, but I feel great emotionally because I know that you guys love these cats like we do and that you're helping us support them. So thank you very much for being such cool cats and kittens. See, you could have used it right there. Good night, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.